Like we're 50 points off the track, baby.
In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions collide with the future's line. Through city streets and temples high, find your story beneath the sky. Waves crash, pumping our sense, harmony flows to the best of lands. In the neon glow, where is bent, the culture rich, where we sense in the morn of grace. We'll dance the night with every star, a guiding light. In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions align with the future's line. The cherry lanes and soaring heights, find your magic in the moonlit nights.
Alrighty, guys. I'm sorry. I know I've been not having the fun day. I dropped my can. I've dropped my guitar controller. I trying to get the thumbnail created. Finally got it fully created. For us. But a couple of things. We are going to show you that I am going to be taking a shipment from Takayama all the way over to Awaji. We haven't been there yet. There's a few places that we haven't been to, so I want to try to see if we can get. We haven't got to Yokohama down here. Yokohama. Down there, we need more. Thing we haven't been to Mestuno. We have not been up in here either. Or Hakusan hasn't been visited. None of these, Suta, those cities haven't been visited. Even Ambori hasn't been visited. And Katakatsu has been, but not everywhere there has been visited. So there's a few places we haven't gone to yet. We haven't even gone to Sazazuka. Out that way. So, for those of you are probably seeing me driving today. There's a couple of things that you guys probably do notice something different. I have a truck now. Because when I don't know if it got shown up in the last episode or whatnot. But we have a truck, a Hatsune Miku truck for now. I'm gonna go with having at least one in every part of the garage. And things like that. So we have a lot of those things. No, I wanted to share with you guys today, mostly, to be honest, we have a win for democracy, I guess, from Hungary. Technically, it's still early. Oh, wow. This guy has... Right. I need to figure out a mod that just disables, the freight market for it. But um and then I'm pretty much basically mostly I don't really have much of anything today. Um but if you guys didn't notice, in the last video on this, there's actually some hidden things within the thumbnail. Same with this one. Uh, hopefully this will work. Um, because it is shorter than my truck, so we should be okay to take this. Um, I'm not gonna take, like, if I'm looking for um trailer trailers, I'm not gonna buy trailers myself. For this, except for box trailers and things. Um, because a lot of the things that deal with the things within the trailer. Do I not have the other chat open? Yeah, there we go. So, um, anyway, there's a lot of things, that are really, um, for those, um, for that, there will probably be, some other things, I don't remember what, um, for political news, but then we've got ETS2 and ATS2 for console, some console updates and stuff. Um, I just want you guys to know that the console updates for these updates, they are coming along for it. So we'll get into that as well as talking about a couple of maybe a handful of other things that I feel like talking about at some point, but mostly just wanted to give you guys the ETS2 and ATS2 console updates for a lot of it, because a lot of what we are seeing behind the back end of these things, a lot of what you can see now is going to be related to console handhelds. They're starting to change the way the game is running behind the scenes. Um, and a lot of these things that are going behind the scenes are pretty much basically getting them ready, getting them suited up for console release. They're having to change a lot of the dynamics. A lot of these things have to be changed so that it can fit on a PS5 and a PC. I mean Xbox, so that you guys can play this at some point. Um, Now, of course, a lot of people did not know um, that when they did a thing in 2025, they were actually like people were they were just testing it on the playing it on the console version of the game, and a lot of people could not tell the couldn't basically thought they were playing on a PC. So it's like um, that was interesting to know that a lot of things do take time to go in the back end of creating things. You have to rely on you only have so much that you can rely on. You know, our computers these days, computers can run a lot better on a lot of things than a console, because a console has limited things that it can run, and or limited space that it can run from memory and things, and a lot of that, and a lot of the things that we're seeing here is like you see the layout for this. I actually am kind of realizing, okay, yeah, no, I can get behind this game running on a Steam Deck, to be honest. Like getting it ready to run on a system that allows the games to be able to be better available and better reading on things. If to be honest, for me, like I have pretty much basically have played. Right now I'm playing on a Linux distribution. Okay, I'm playing on Bazine. But if I decided that I wanted to go and get a just as an example, if I decided to go get um a Steam Deck, okay, just because I want a Steam Deck, um, I don't have the money, but if I did, I would most likely absolutely go and get it. Because it would basically be something that would allow for me to actually have fun and be able to modify the game a little bit, be able to play with this game on a Steam Deck, and right now that would be possible. It would be very possible for me to do it, but it would not be something I would want to um, absolutely take a lot of time to spend with um, the game itself, and spending a lot of time going through each version of the spending a lot of time just trying to get this game to run. Now, of course, they are trying to change the underlying code around. So the thing is a lot of it's going to be changing the way that the game is ran. Um, um, well, don't you know? Guess what? Actually, don't you know? Guess what? I made a boo boo. I was like, I gotta remember that it's gonna take me some time getting used to driving in Japan, of course, um, and things like that. But the thing that really comes in um, within a game like this, it takes time to um, for a lot of you. I actually kind of know a little bit about game development in my own personal thing. It does not just you cannot just create a game overnight and expect that game to without using AI, of course. Game development is not just magically you get a game overnight. It can sometimes, if you're an indie developer just creating a game using default templates from like RPG Maker, you might be able to get a game done in a day or two, but it's not gonna look and feel like your own game. It's for it. But when you look at building something, taking some time, um, it's going to take some time to really create a game. um, getting the audio, getting the design that you want. Sometimes it's taken me quite some time with my first one that I thought was working fine, created it, and then the whole thing basically just blew up and broke on my face. So, and on that, and to be honest, um, there's a lot of those things that really do take into understanding the different way that these things are being set up and these things are being done. You know, you can't just magically think that this game is just going to be able to be magically ported to another platform. You know, if you really build, like, this game was built upon Linux, was built upon Windows and Mac. Like, you can play this on almost anything, on almost any distro. Probably any distro available to having that at any rate. Almost any distro. I'm not saying every distro, because there might be some weird wacky distro that you have for like really old hardware that you can't run this game on. Um, but you have, not only do you have that, um, you have this running on modern Windows, um, and you can play this on Mac pretty much. Um, and you know, but being able to port it to porting it to a console, you have to go through and fix a lot of the code. You have to fix a lot of things to make it viable for console releases in general. Um, it takes a lot of time for um, code to really get going and really although now of course you can use AI. A lot of things today is AI driven. But if a company decides not to use AI and not to follow AI's directive, then of course, then you have to really think about. It takes time. It's not just gonna magically poof. It's there. If you use AI, it's gonna probably make a simplistic game. Yeah, you might be able to get it done in an hour with AI, but it's gonna be costly. And it's the same thing if you do things like, I literally went down and literally created a game through one of these AIs just as a test run, and created a thing that um, was there with an AI, and it literally just created the game. The game, now, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't there um, the way that I wanted it to do, but it can be done in an hour. It can be done in a matter of minutes, to be honest, if you know what you're doing and know what you're asking for. Um, but if the AI can't, um, not every AI is going to be able to do it for you and be able to change the way that you want that game to work or game to run. Because running a game on, say, X platform or Y platform doesn't matter. It has to be created enough that you can um, get it running and working. Now, of course, there are a lot of places, like if you use RPG Maker, you can already get it to run on Windows. Getting it to run on Linux, though, you won't be able to get it there. Being able to run on Linux for without going through Proton, or without going through some sort of a layer. Like, I can't just go out and make the game and then get it directly running on Linux. I have to use Proton layer in order for it to run. But it's not that hard to do, of course, if you use AI. But it takes time. It takes time to create the music for a game. It doesn't take just miraculously. Like, yes, I did do this at a couple of times where I did use somebody else's and derivative work. But I was allowed to, and I used it to create my own um, thing, utilizing that work, but changing it enough that it fits well with the theme and things. But I don't I haven't wrote music in forever, ever in a while, I should say. Uh, to it and to be making the music for and it takes time. It doesn't you can't just like you look at those blades of grass. It takes time to create just a blade of grass. It takes time just to be able to um, do things, and it takes time to even for a game like this. You have to do a lot of intricacy work for it. But anyway, the consoles, there is some milestones being made. Of course, a lot of people are wanting the consoles games to come out now, but um, but it's gonna be when it's ready. SCS does not rush like these other companies do. They do not rush to make a game. They do not rush to get out these DLCs for what it's worth. They sit there and they will methodically um, methodically take these games and slowly uh, they will methodically take it when they are ready. They will share the details when it's officially there to be ready for release. We know that Illinois is the next one coming in for American Truck Simulator. Just the way that they're talking about things, um, and things that they're doing to get these DLCs out. And we know that Iceland's probably going to be the next one for American Truck. I mean, Euro Truck, sorry. Um, but they take their time. They like to take their time, and it's a company that does not rush. There's not there is no breaking of the game. Like, if you're playing on Windows, you're gonna have like pretty much an easy time to play this game. There's literally no bugs, no problems with running on Windows, just out of the box. Because they want to make sure that this game has no bugs. They want to make sure that this game absolutely runs flawlessly without having any problems. And that's what they do. They take their time in doing their releases. Like in 1.58, they did not release major stuff, but it's a small increment steps. And they're going to do that within 1.59 is going to be a major release, because they're also slowly working on getting being able to drive buses, being able to drive trucks, cars, through it all. And yes, Glass, no, I am not talking about random stuff today. I'm actually talking primarily console releases for these things, and actually getting things to that point. But they are working. They are getting closer and closer to release. They'll be ready when they're ready. I see sometimes people asking about when are we going to get these on consoles? When are we going to get them available for console? And I'm like, they'll get it done when they get it done. I don't like to, like, I look at video games like, yeah, I'm interested in a video game. I don't care if the game is interesting. And now, of course, if they're going to shelve the game, then maybe I might have some problems with that. If I'm really liking something coming out. But to be honest, there's a handful of games that, for me, like, I've been an avid Halo fan since probably until basically Halo 3. After Halo 3, I kind of was like, not really for me anymore. But they're going back to the Halo campaign, Evolved, creating this new Halo thing. I'm not going to get the game. I'm not going to sit there and buy a game that seems to be like just a rehashing of a old thing. The original developer of it literally is trashing on on the game itself. So you can tell when a developer is trashing a game that from the who worked on it originally, you can tell that there's some things that need to be fixed, of course, that need to be done, and that's why most of this stuff is related to a lot of game development. Is some games, when they are done properly and they are done right with a remake or a remaster, the Final Fantasy pixel remasters, all but Final Fantasy 4 is actually pretty good. Final Fantasy 4 is the only one that has lost content that should have been in there after years. They should have put it after years, and they should have done the extra content related to Final Fantasy 4 for it. But other than that, Glass, yeah, I know I don't have a job, but Glass, even if I had a job, guess what, Glass, I still wouldn't buy that game, because Halo has pretty much after Halo Reach, basically, after Bungie basically was gone off the project, and 343 came in to try to create their own stuff. I don't like what they're doing with 343. I never touched Halo 5, probably never will. And Halo Infinite, I was just like, yeah. I will tell you, like, Call of Duty is better than Halo right now. But even then, they're not even there to really make things. They're not doing what Halo should be doing. They're basically, Microsoft is ruining ruining a lot of their games. The only game that actually has not been ruined by a remake or a remaster is Age of Empires 2. And Age of Empires 2 was actually one of those games that has not been ruined by being redone, because Age of Empires 2 was actually done initially. The Forgotten Empires is a mod that was enabled for the original Age of Empires 2 game itself. And they basically went and they said, well, they were going to continue to work on it. It was going to be a mod, but then they went to talk to Microsoft and see if they were willing to work with them, and they literally agreed. And Age of Empires 2 has actually been one of the only Age of Empires 2 has been the only game within the franchise itself to absolutely be a good expansion, remaster, remake, whatever you like to call it. Sometimes remakes and remasters are pretty good, but with Halo doing this remake, I don't have any faith in the game, to be honest. Because I can, Glass. Because that doesn't mean anything. If I don't have a job, guess what, Glass? I could still pretty much buy the Halo if I wanted to. Because I still have $30 sitting in my name on Steam. So, what's the point? I save up. I've been actually saving that money. I haven't. There's a lot of things where I could have been buying things that I wanted, but I've been saving it. I actually haven't used that money for anything right now. There's been a few games that I want, but I've been saving it because, to be honest, there's actually a lot of better things that I can use that money for. So even if I go out there and tell you that, there's a lot of these things that do do make my uh, thing that I don't like about video games. And I'm not saying that, you know, that video games don't have, that there aren't bad remakes or things like that. It's like I went and played Final Fantasy VII remake. Um, I love that game, but Rebirth, not as much. And it's one of those things where sometimes remakes, remasters, things can be done right. Like the Final Fantasy Tactics game is another great example of a title that is well deserved. Um, Final Fantasy VIII Remaster. I've played the original and I've played the remaster. Remaster's not terrible either. So sometimes um, these these games do have do have great things that do. But like Spyro, the Reignited trilogy. I've watched it being played, and it's like actually that's a well-deserved remake or remaster. Those are games out there that if a remaster's done right and a remake's done right, then they deserve the praise. But Halo, not the new one, unfortunately. But to be honest, you know, SCS has pretty much been doing a lot of trucking games for a long time, and you've probably heard of 18 wheeler at some point in your life. You've probably heard it when you were probably a kid, and so companies that know what they're doing and make that possible. Now there are some life decisions that you know that where are we headed? Okay, so it looks like I need to go to Nishinomiya. Um okay, so we go there. Let me see. We got other. That's going to Osaka. That one's going to Mizaki. I think that's the one. What's the what's the travel time? It's 14 hours, so it's actually, so we need to go to, so it's not that one. Um, so we'll go to this one. But hey, we all spend on things that we want to enjoy, and spending on things that are out there. But hold on, I'll be right back. I'm going to quickly go to the bathroom. I'm back. But there is this thing where we all spend on things that we enjoy doing, and to be honest, um, you know, some people will look at other people and look at like, why do you need to spend like um thousands of dollars on for me, it's like I don't care, but it's like a lot of people will look at other people and be like, you spend a lot of money on things that are not necessary, and it's like to them it's not necessary, but to you it may be necessary. But at the same time, there's also times where things may not be absolutely necessary to buy. And to be honest, you know, there's always a lot of different things that we spend on a daily basis. Like, like it's not necessary for me to go and get like Glass sitting over here talking about getting a tattoo that's $200. Well, of course, that's that's worth it for him. May not be worth it for me. You know, it's like sitting here, building a computer. Like another thing that I do, it's not necessary to go out and buy the fanciest $5,000 rig to get that computer going. You don't need to spend $5,000 on that, but if you want to, it's fine. It's not a necessity, but it's more of a want. Things to me, there are a lot of things that are necessities in life that we can do. Like if you need a laptop, like not everybody's gonna need a gaming laptop. Everybody just needs something just to get by, and sometimes it's $500 laptop is a need compared to needing a $1,200 a $1,400 laptop that can game. If you're not gonna game, why get something like that? It's not a need. It's an extra. It's a thing that people will spend more than what they absolutely need to spend on. You don't need to go. For me, it's like I will tell you, it's not a need to go spend $2,000 on a coat that you can spend half that money on layering. You don't need to go. You can save yourself money. Finding ways to save money and using that for other things at a thing when you're struggling, that's a thing that is there. But to be honest, sometimes you can't help with changing things and rising costs of a lot of things that do go up and make things more expensive, and it's very hard to get it. One of the things that is going up is I did not notice it until I was like, that YouTube Premium is going up. Going up. And I'm like, YouTube Premium going up is it's like, I will tell you, I will probably end up dropping YouTube Premium if it goes to $220 a month. Right now it's not. Right now I don't think it's $20 a month. I think it's like $16 I think. It could very well could be 20, but I'm not going to be spending that much. Is it worth it? Is it worth to spend money on an increased price or fixed spending on having multiple streaming services? Like to me, like you don't need to go out there and spend spending on having multiple different streaming platforms. You're never going to sit there and watch every streaming platform, every platform out there just to watch, your thing. You don't need to go out there and like if you're using that platform on a daily on a often, like utilizing, like, you know, for example, like Paramount, like I use that on a daily basis. Okay, and that's a great place. It's a great platform. Um, for some, it's got great TV shows and stuff that I like, but I don't like who's underneath of it. But to each their own. It's one of those things that you know, if you are a avid TV person, and you like watching TV, or you just want to be able to have something to have access to your local weather, Paramount is great for that. You don't need to go out and spend um, thousands of dollars, or you don't need to go spend $70 a month on channels that you can just watch your local TV on a on that. Now of course $70 a month is like if you're spending that and you're watching a lot of other channels and spending a lot more time on watching it, then that's a different story. It's all about, do you use it that much? Are you willing to spend a lot of time on those platforms? Those are the things that I would say yes, I would be remiss to not spend on much of anything. But that's why for me, I only really even before, when I had a job, I would spend money on premium. Guess what? Premium is the only platform that I would spend that I spend a month that I would spend on. And Paramount I spend yearly. If I'm able to buy yearly in that process, I would go and buy yearly. I don't ever go and buy monthly. Because monthly, a lot of times you go and buy monthly, you spend more than what's absolutely there. Um, and to be honest, if you're buying monthly a on goods, to rent to own, it's not a good thing either. Because you might as well just go out, go and outright spend the money to just get that item instead of paying monthly. Because at the end of the day, by the time you're done paying for that item off, it's probably worth more. It was probably worth more than what you actually paid for. There's only a handful of things that's actually probably a good thing to do. Is mostly car, um, or things that, like that. To me, a car is the only thing that would be necessary for it. But that's about it. You know, don't go out and buy like computers on a month-to-month basis, and you potentially not being able to own that device. NZXT is right now embroiled in with it. If they had never really went out and started this computer process thing, they probably might still be around. But I haven't really watched a lot of my content creators really talk about NZXT anymore, because they're not doing what they're not doing things best for the consumer. They're only doing what's best for the business a lot of the time. Like Sony, you know, giving us that opportunity for different pricing per user, and that's not right either. Because if I'm out there buying a game, say I don't usually play Resident Evil, but I was like I'm interested in it. At that point, I may be paying like $15 for that game, where somebody else might be paying 30 or 20, $25 or whatever, because their avid things are gonna charge a little bit more. That's not right either. But it doesn't mean I'm gonna stop playing with Sony or stop buying things off of these platforms. I'm just saying that a lot of some of these things um you cannot control because there's only so many people out there, so many companies out there that can give you that gaming platform. To be honest, the only platform that's absolutely the best platform ever, and I'm gonna stand by my stance on this, and that's Steam. Steam is absolutely the best platform compared to any of these other places. It's better than Epic Games. It's better than um, Microsoft. It's Microsoft Store. It's way better than any other platform. You know, I will tell you like because Steam has a lot more returnability. They are willing to support the community. They are willing to take that initiative to help the community out a lot. You know, they're the one that you want to spend a lot more time going to than spending anywhere else. And that to me is um and that to me is just one of the things um that really guide me is like, are they more relatable to the consumer, willing to actually stand with the consumer than they are spending elsewhere? Then not. And that's the thing. You know, are they more related for getting making sure that everybody has the opportunity to do it? I don't know why. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Duh. Like, because if I remember correctly, um, when it came up this way, I, th- and then I had to come down this way, and we had to go that way. Um, because I remember that. Um, but those are the things that we spend a lot of our time thinking about, the spending and putting money where companies are doing their best and doing their things for it. That's why a lot of times I put myself where, there's a lot of times where DLCs, um where I will spend a lot more money towards DLC on things. Like, um a lot of people will look at me and be like, Call of Duty, like, Call of Duty has not really good, um has not done really well lately for bundles, for buying extra goods and things. Same with Fortnite. Like, Fortnite, like, yes, Fortnite has some good things. Yes, there are things where I will say, yeah, Fortnite's doing it a lot better than Call of Duty is doing it. But they're still out there trying to get more money out of you, and and it's like I would have said, keeping that 1,000, you could have raised it $1 or two on a lot of things. Um, oh, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I literally did not do that on purpose. Hey. Yeah, we have slight damage to the cargo. Ugh. But it's one of those things where, you know, Like I will tell you, like I have spent a lot of time, with certain games and buying certain stuff for certain games. Like, for me, like I will um spend a lot of time with games that are well worth and deserved for DLC. Um, a lot of good things related to Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo. Um, you know, there was this thing here that I was here to play. I was thinking about buying DLC for Planet Zoo. Um, but it's like Planet Zoo is not worth spending like $5 just for um planet buying stuff for Planet Zoo and um say like saving money for things for that $30. Like I will tell you, like if I had a job, you had to spend that in a heartbeat and utilize that money for it. But even then, um but I don't, because there are, and I realized that, am I going to really play Planet Zoo? Am I really going to play that game? No, I haven't. I'll tell you, I haven't even gone back to Planet Coaster 2. To be honest, I haven't gone back to it. I haven't gone back to City Skylines 2. I haven't really gone back to those because it's like right now it's like it's not worth it for me. If I feel like I'm not gonna play it again, then I'm not gonna go back to it. I'm not gonna go and spend my time on games that are not worth spending like hard-earned cash. Like there's a lot of games on Steam that I want, but to be honest, for me, I've been saving a lot of my funds and a lot of my money for Euro Truck because I'm going to spend it wisely and spend it where the money, spending it where it deserves to be spent. That money deserves to be spent with a company that is doing great work. SCS has rarely any bugs, if any, at any point throughout the game. They don't. There's hardly any bugs, and bugs. To be honest, if I'm talking about bugs, it means that those bugs are related to, um, not related to mods. Right out of the box, there has not been like I, I'm sitting here playing this game and I have occasional bugs, but this is a mod. It has no problems with base game. Modifying the game or mods, then that's a different story. I don't go after um mod creator. I don't go after the company when the company's doing right. When the company had like this is the why that there's so few games on my list that do not have um where I have very very little complaint. I actually, to be honest, I don't even have a complaint with this. I have one tiny complaint, and that's just because, you know, it's just a small little thing. And that complaint is pretty much basically um that complaint is pretty much exclusively related to um the mod stuff, being able to click and drag the mods into places, but that's it. I don't nothing really more to complain about this game. Nothing. That's the smallest thing that I can ever say, and this game still is pretty much basically 10 out of 10 game. It's maybe a 9.5 out of 10, but to be honest, I'm like, it's still a wonderful game. It's still the best game in my repertoire of games. Putting in the top 10 video games of all time Final Fantasy is, yes, Final Fantasy is up there with it being fantastic games. But there's only like 5 games. My top 5 games are pretty much Euro Truck and ETS2. Um, are both right there within the top. No problems, nothing, no gripes, nothing um, within the game. Um, you know, I have no problems with this. So this one's like literally the top game within my games to bone to pick, and games to really um uh for, and it's rare that I do have a lot of bone, a lot of nitty gritty games that put it here. To be honest, like Final Fantasy VIII. To be honest, it's up here in the top 5, but it's it's because it's one of those games that does not have any flaws or any problems with the game for me. Unless you talk about um, depending on the version you're playing, though. If you're playing on the Windows version, then it's not worth it. But if you're playing on the PlayStation version, fine. Or playing the remaster. I have a little problem with the remastered version of Final Fantasy, though. Um, but that's not but that's not um, but it's very small portion of the game that just really is there. Final Fantasy VIII is not one of those games that I have any problems with the game, except for maybe graphical glitches within the remastered. But to be honest, I can get over it. It's not one of those games that, that's why a lot of these games have, if there's one flaw or something in the game, it most likely will always will never get a full 10 out of 10. This is the only game that does get a full 10 out of 10. Because there's no faults, nothing wrong with it, nothing problematic. Modifying the game, playing the game the way you want to play it is great. You know, um, to be honest, the only some other 10 out of 10 fantastic 10 out of 10 games that are there. Final Fantasy VIII's up here within the top 5, but there's only a couple other games that are up here that get a 10 out of 10, and that get a full undivided 10 for AAA titles, games that are absolutely considerable out there. Is that that I could go back and play again and again is Age of Empires 2. No. I've talked about it a lot, but no, it's not Age of Empires 2. It's not a city building or Sims or whatever. Because unfortunately, the only title within the Sims franchise is The Sims 2 on the PS2, GameCube. That right there, for it. So, but it's very hard. Hard for games to really get that full undivided 10. But it's really hard for me to put a 10 out of 10, for me to say 10 out of 10 on any video game. Okay, it makes it really difficult. But but I will tell you, the the undivided video games that have these these things where um games that I could sit down, like Make Way is another great game. To be honest, it's another 10 out of 10 game that, right there, fantastic game. Sit there and play it. Play. I could play it again and again. Um, the only other game out there that makes it a full, undivided, um, that gets a 10 out of 10. 10. Um, and not only that, um, things like um, things like the eight, um, like that. Some other games that really do hit home that are pretty good, great games that I really like to enjoy is Age of Empires 2. Um, it is one of those games that I could sit back and go back and play it from time to time. I do it every now and then. I don't play it right now because of Linux. Um, but a lot of uh, like I do go all around. City Skylines, another fantastic game. City Skylines 2, even. These games, like a lot of people will say, I'm a big EA SimCity fan. Not after what I've seen with SimCity, 2013. Not after what City Skylines has done, basically to upset that and make some City Skylines better. You know, City Skylines 2, absolutely better games, better setup for being able to play it, console and PC alike. Um, you know, um, so there's a lot of good games out there that aren't just related to being um, Call of Duty. Like, to be honest, Call of Duty, the only title that's gotten close to being up there and being a 10 out of 10 is Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 1. Those are the original Call of Duty, part of the original PlayStation 3 system family, Xbox 360, Wii. Um, that is the only games from Call of Duty that actually hit home for it. And there's a lot of good games out there. Doesn't like I'll tell you, most of the time. Wait a minute. Did I make a mistake? Um, because I came this way. Um, then why did it have me get off? Maybe I should have stayed forward. Um, because that's where I came in, and which then would have looped around. Um, yeah, it would have been. This is weird. traveling. Like, yeah. Like, yeah, that's what's weird. I'm going to do a thing real quick. I'm gonna try a thing. We're gonna go back. I'll go back to here. We'll load back up that older save and see. Because we're here at this. Yeah, see, it shows that when I come off, um, that it makes it a little bit different. Off. Like, I have to realize that making some of those mistakes, I just load older saves so I can um, do that. But in real life, you make a mistake, you're there. But to be honest, it's like one of those things where the more time that you spend um, in driving this, you'll probably get it better than me. But to be honest, there's a lot of other things that really are good. We have some other good wins. Um, and some other good wins include, um, you know, that right now the way that it is trending in Hungary, Viktor Orban has basically. It seems like Viktor Orban's, if they continue to keep going the way that they are right now, and they get 2/3 majority, they can. Viktor Orban will be pretty much gone. I'm in Hungary. A dictator in Hungary will change to fitting more democracy and more things like that. And there's a lot writing on a thing where he said that Trump supported Viktor Orban, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people from in Hungary are fed up with what's going on. I'm a lot of people who basically say they endorse a candidate. Trump endorses a candidate sometimes. If enough people really dislike a certain person, they will find a way to upset and make upsets. You know, like I'm gonna tell you, like there are a lot of people here in the United States government where um, a lot of these that really make differences um, with what's being done. Um, you know, it's what right now with what's going on in the United States being a lot of troublesome. You know, um, okay. Now, do we? Okay. Now, now things can change.
イベント録画が行われました。
Things can change over a lot of time. When you get somebody in there, sometimes we think that they're going to be a great person. They're going to be great. They're going to be fantastic. Within it, thinking that that they're doing wonderful. But look, when you look at the different when you look at things that go on, um, there's a lot of things that pertain to what is being done in what people decide they do. Like, when people think that Republicans are doing great, Republicans, like, you know, or Democrats are doing great, or whatnot, and then sometimes they think that oh, well, that Republicans aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. They think that they're knowing what they're doing. Um, a lot of people will look at Democrats the same way. A lot of times people will flip flop because they think one party's doing great, but then sometimes, and no, we'll just go back to the other party because they were doing better, or whatnot. And it's like a lot of people don't seem to quite understand that it does not um that it takes time to change. It does not change. There's some things that can be changed immediate, a change, but things will not change overnight. A city does not grow by just um, by people just uh, it's not going to grow overnight just by putting up a whole bunch of buildings and putting up within a day. Like you can't build a home within a day. You can't. I'm pretty sure you probably can now, but even then, you would still have to be able to build a city. You have to get people to come in. You have to get people to want to stay. Um, and getting people in places like that. And you can't just you know expect a city to continue to grow when you don't have jobs available. On top of that, it's a balancing act. You have to be willing to balance, um, be able to balance the economy in a way, for it to really take into effect. You can't just rely on being. For me, it seems like you can't rely on people being just willing to work for you and work for you at a cheaply cost, because not everybody's wanting to do that. Not everybody, like, you may have people working at like McDonald's for a little bit, but and expecting that these kids are going to get better. Like, you tell people, oh, you can get a better job. Okay, well, let's say I go and do get a better job. Okay, now I get that better job, but then my rent is I am working in a place that's actually worth it. That you know let's say I become a movie star or whatever. That's becoming, um it can change within matter of days. To be honest, it can change with wealth. People think that you go and win the lottery and you can magically just live off, like, magically just go spend it willy-nilly, and then not be able to, but then you'll go bankrupt right afterwards. It's literally that. You have to be willing to not spend it all in one place, not spend it all in one go. You can't just go and expect to get $1 million, and then keep that $1 million, and then go and spend it all in one place, and then do it, and then expect to be able to survive. Like, you go out and buy $1 million house, you might end up falling apart. And things. You can't just expect to do everything right, um within these um expect to just everything to fall um, directly directly making like you think you're going to be able to live a lavish lifestyle, but you know it's you can't. You have to manage to budget everything. You can't just like a lot of these billionaires think that everybody can just work their way up the ladder when not everybody can, and not everybody can. Um, and a lot of some people don't want to work up that ladder. Some people are happy doing their job. They just might not be able to survive working at a McDonald's, working $10 an hour when they have to pay like $3,000 in rent and having to work two jobs. Nobody should have to be working 24/7 on two on having one job and then working on another job. Okay? You can't. Now, of course, some people want to do that and that's fine, but nobody should be willing to work at least should be willing to work at least one job a day and that's it. You know? And a lot of these corporations make more money when if the CEO is making if the CEO is making billions of dollars on billions of dollars, um, millions of dollars, but then the employees are not making that much, then it's maybe the CEO needs to figure out their priorities and start increasing their people's minimum wage and doing that. They should really be focused on making sure that people have the things that they need and making sure that the things that are being done um, that they can retain their employees a lot of the time. Um, Now, of course, I'm at 80. Um, Let me go to company. We're gonna go check garage. I should only have. I have myself here. I'm in Tokyo, my small garage, and then we have one in Takayama, where we came from. Um, we're only making somewhat daily profit. But I have to pay at least a thousand yen on a daily basis. So I'm literally going out on that. Yep. See that loan investment. Um, is not right. Is not like I'm spending that much, but we will eventually be able to have more of the availability to get things. Like I probably, like I said, I did this and then I probably shouldn't have, but this I should have waited until I got to 5, making sure that I can get enough money to buy myself my own truck. Um, for it. Um, but I will tell you, um, it currently is, um, Um, I was checking to see what time it was, and then I got distracted. Um, that it's basically um, that you have to be willing to take that time. Um, let's go to the bank. Yeah, see, we have to pay 1,000 a day. We go to company, truck manager, driver manager, actually. Willany F is level 3. Um, has 1 in long distance, 1 in high value, 1 in fragile cargo, just in time delivery, and some eco. Can take explosives if needed be. So, um, for it. Jobs. Let's go back to our freight market. Ajiwa. Um, Going to Tokyo, we're gonna do it by price per distance though. No, we're gonna take that one. That one, because I'm gonna be on until 6, and then I'm getting off at 6. But um, because I'm not making supper tonight. I'm really just warming it up stuff. But there's this thing that a lot of these different places and different things is that spending money where you shouldn't be. Like, you shouldn't be spending money on billions of dollars, spending money on things that you you are struggling right now, right? If you're struggling, you should be spending it on things that you need, absolutely need, than spending it on things like maybe spending like maybe $10 on something here and there for yourself. It is different than spending $20,000 and spending $100 on something that you need. If you're struggling and you need to buy a new pair of shoes, don't need to go out and spend $100 on a pair of shoes when there's probably a $50 pair of shoes out there. Or even going to Walmart and spending $20 on a pair of shoes if you have to. You know, when you absolutely need to. Now, of course, um, for me, I literally have, in order for me to do anything, I have to have a job. So that's one thing that I have to work on myself. Um, but anyway, you know, um, so it's basically just knowing what you can do and what needs to be done, and finding out that you might want that nice fridge, that nice brand new fridge, but that doesn't mean um, the only time that you should be spending on a new fridge is if your fridge breaks, or Or spending on things that are necessities. You know, like if your job, like, I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there that do this as a job. Um, and a lot of times, like if something breaks, you have to go out and buy a new computer if you need to. A lot of times, buying new equipment because something breaks, you have to. It's a necessity. It's not a need. It's not a want. It's a need. When you're here live streaming to nobody, okay? Is it a need? No, it's not. It's a want. You know, sitting here live streaming to um do we have to go up here actually. Right? And there's only two. Oh, are you kidding me? Um do we go to system? Go to job. Is it still available? No. Well, okay. That one's available. Offer expires in 50 minutes. And it's 29 minutes to get there, so I know this is only an entranceway, but I don't care. I should have really checked to see when that offer was expiring. But yes, but anyway, to be honest, having wins though, making sure that you get wins where you can take them where you can get them. But we will. Of course. And another speeding violation. To that point. Anyway, I think what I'm just going to do is I'm really am just gonna get off. I think. Um, because um, so I'm gonna get off. Let me save this under whoops, PJ 4 12 26. I'm just gonna do it that way. I don't care if it's live or not. Um, because anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys are followed. Make sure you guys hit that beautiful subscribe here. Wherever you guys are watching, YouTube, TikTok, Trovo. I mean YouTube or Twitch. Um, um, which you guys can hit that follow. Um, we'll be back again in 3 hours, 4 hours. Playing some Final Fantasy. No, I was thinking that's tomorrow. Um, we'll be like my brain's kind of fried a little bit here, going all over the place, I guess. Tonight we'll be playing some Call of Duty multiplayer. Tomorrow's gonna be zombies. For that. So if you want to see Call of Duty content, Black Ops 7 multiplayer, will be tonight and tomorrow night. Um, for it. But if you guys are watching here on YouTube, we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon with some Final Fantasy 13, trying to get that done. We are getting closer. We are getting closer to finishing up the game. It has taken me quite some time this year to get that done. Some days I forget to go live, like Friday. Um, but anyway, maybe I might be live tomorrow afternoon. We will see. Um, I might be late. I might be on. Um, might not even be on at all because sometimes I make that mistake. And like I said, I will not live stream after 4 o'clock. Um, 4 o'clock unless I know what I'm 4:30 4 um 4:30 um is the latest that I will stay on to live stream for. But I'm trying not to. I'm trying to get on at 3:30. But that's been kind of lackluster lately because trying to get on at 3:30 at the latest so I can 3 o'clock so I can create the thumbnail, and then 3:30 getting on uh creating the live stream, getting on at 3:30, and then getting done by 5:30. Is what I'd like to be doing. I'd like to have 2 hour streams in the afternoon, but sometimes it just doesn't get there. But um, anyway, one of the last things I'm gonna say before I do get off is apparently Trump's going back on his thing again with the Strait of Hormuz and things. Um, with Iran, basically he's backtracking on not following what Iran wanted. Um, and now he's based. So it's basically he's not doing what he says. Sometimes he doesn't do what he says, and his actions speak louder than your actions speak louder than your words. But anyway, um, I didn't have much of information on that one. And apparently Rockstar's been hacked again. Apparently, so don't know. I didn't get a look into that. But there's probably something out there that you guys can go and check on that. Anyway, we will catch you guys later. Bye. Make sure you guys hit that follow